This time on Finnegan's Garage, I'm going to show you how to put the Hater Vision touchscreens in both sides of my C10, and we're going to do it better than we did it before, thanks to this guy. Thanks for joining us once again. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment if you can, if you care, and we're going to introduce you to the man who taught me years ago how to work a bead rolling machine, but I only recently, in the last few weeks, actually got my hands on one. And part of the reason I did that was Newbern and I, a couple episodes ago, showed you how to mount this new Holley 12.3-inch touchscreen digital dash into my C10, and the moment I got done and I bolted it in there, I went, that's really not very cool. You know, there's no detail there, there's no panache. And so, called up Jamey. He got me the tool. I watched your DVD. You gave me some tips that were really helpful. And then I attempted to B-roll a recess in here. And I wasn't totally happy with the results. And I thought, well, can we bodywork it? Can we paint it? And I threw some paint on there and just kind of stepped back and looked at it and went, it's not a bad start, but I know this can be done better. And so I convinced him to come all the way here to my home garage to give me tips not only on how to do this, because this is the first project I have in mind, but just in general, what the machine is capable and how you can make art like this that you could actually sell and make money for yourselves later on. That's right, you can make money with your tools. It's weird, I know. Jamey and I have been friends for a long time. He was actually on one of the very first episodes of Hot Rod Garage on the Motor Trend Network, where you showed me how to bead roll back then, actually.
Yep, I did. And I think we worked on a few small little projects there, and we spent a little time doing that, but today we had something fun to do.
I bought a lot of metal, because, well, I'm not very good at this yet, so hopefully we don't use all of it because he's gonna make us better today.
We are.
All right, let's do this. So this is the machine. This is the 36-inch Mittler Bros. Jamey Jordan Signature Series, which that's pretty awesome. He's got his own tools. Bead rolling machine, and what I don't know is what it's capable of. Like, I know I can put grooves in things, and the moment you put a groove through this panel, it gets much stiffer, much stronger, much sturdier. But in general, what would you use this machine for?
It's really just going to pinch two pieces of metal. That's really what I try to describe it to most people. It's all we're doing is just taking two dies on the end, two rolls, and we're just going to smash in between two pieces of metal. So whatever's happening in between there is what we're going to come up with. You have your adjuster for your height, and then you're going to have your adjuster for your width.
So this one determines how deep you're rolling, they're pinching the metal.
Correct.
And this determines the shape that you're going to put in the metal.
In the die, whatever shape is going to come from your die, and wherever your height is, how far you want to smash it down is going to come from here. And the width that you want to create with your die, or whatever width of bead that you'd like to create, would come from here. So if you have too much stretch at one time, you're going to get a warp in your panel.
Ah, I warped that one. Yeah.
That only becomes because you're pushing too much.
Okay.
Too much at one time. So if we could take that theory, less pressure here, and manipulate the gap between the two rolls that we're creating, that's going to allow you to softly and evenly and smoothly stretch that metal all the way around without warping it.
The flange on that touchscreen is about 3/16 of an inch deep, right? And so I kept pushing this to get it deeper so that I could try to get this flush, and I warped this bad. I had to go twist this and hammer this, and you don't want to hammer the aluminum, as it turns out, because then you see the hammer marks, which is why I painted it.
The biggest thing to do when you're bead rolling is not just roll stuff and then go, oh crap, roll it, look at it, and read it. And so when you read this panel, I see right here on these edges, if you see that this distortion now, it's pushed this way, that tells me that this bead roll kept going as it ran, and it ran past the line that it was supposed to stop at, and it kept pushing this metal out in this ridge.
So it went too far.
Exactly, and by pushing that ridge out, it continually pushed the ridge out through here and lifted all this up. This one came in a little short, and so it left that valley, which pushes this out. And so a little short, and maybe almost about where you want, but a little long.
So in your DVD, you mentioned using the edge of the bolt as your stopping point. I was trying to do that, but man, trying to foot pedal, look at the bolt, and when I'm looking at the bolt, the panel's trying to move, so I'm trying to hold the panel straight while getting it to stop right at the bolt, use the pedal. I sucked, basically. I really sucked at it, yeah.
You don't realize that you got all three things happening at one time. You got your hand up here, you got your distance of your die that you're working on, you're trying to keep a straight line, you're steering with this hand, and you're giving it the gas with this foot pedal.
The other question I have is instead of stopping and starting at every corner, could I turn the corner?
Easily. Easily, you could turn those nicely.
For a guy like me, maybe that's in the beginning when trying to figure out the stopping point is difficult, you know? Maybe that's a better way for me to go.
This is your lower die. Okay? This is your upper die. Doesn't really matter what's on the upper die or what it is, as long as it's straight and flat and smooth and, you know, it doesn't have any weird spots there or curved, even if it was curved. But when this die comes down, it's going to bend over just like that, over that edge. And you're going to get a certain profile by having my hand here and here, right? If my hand's here and here, you're going to get a totally different profile because I've moved the die out.
Right, so it'll be wider.
Wider.
Bigger curve.
Same thing. And as I slowly do that, that's all we're going to do here. Is just slowly move this out and shape it over the bottom die.
Okay. If I make this panel bigger than it needs to be, like say an inch bigger, does that mean I can roll the edge?
I got the die for that too.
Oh, that means this panel, not only could we recess the screen in it, but we could roll the edge all the way around and stand this out so it'll almost kind of look like the stock gauge cluster. It won't be just some cheesy, you know, flat panel. Today's gonna be a good day.
These are the rolls I use all the time, stencil rolls. I mean, they're just 2 profile rolls that are just really cut down small. Okay. That's all there is. They're exactly the same, so that way, no matter if you don't have an adjustable shaft, you can set them up any way you want. So you can still get profiles, a bigger profile than you would with a standard set of rolls. So there's more gap in between them. So,
okay,
we're gonna pull the dies together, kind of get them nice and tight together right here. Okay. And then we're gonna make a pass, okay? We're just gonna kind of make a few lines here and here, give you a few tips making the little corners.
Okay.
And then you're gonna make some inside ones.
All right.
All right, and so it'll be kind of a little bit different, but the same. But we'll walk that, and it's just gonna show you how making it with one pass and then doing it again and doing it again will eventually create a ridge here. So instead of just seeing a little tiny little step roll where it pops up a little lip and it's flat on top, we like to round this whole thing over. So that way you got a nice round bead all the way around there.
How much does it matter being, like if you're gonna run over this several times, how much does it matter that you're tracing the exact same path every time?
Doesn't matter at all. It's actually gonna be really good. It's gonna be easier and better for you. So once I feel pressure, which is gonna be somewhere up in here, okay, this is 12 o'clock. Each machine, each die, each piece of panel, everything's gonna feel pressure in different places. I tell everyone to think about this as a clock, 12, 6, 3, 9. So for 12 here, I'm gonna count my rotations all the way around. So I feel pressure here, let's go 1 round, and I'm gonna give it the gas as I go. Just a little bit, just giving it the gas as we turn it in. And then I'm gonna make a pass. Now it's not gonna look like much is happening, and that's not a problem. We're okay with that. So if you see everything jumping up on your first run, you might have done too much. So I'm just gonna stop a little short, and then we're gonna do the same, repeat the same thing going this way. And just come in just a little bit. And the reason what we're thinking about compensating for is if you see, can you see the profile?
Yep.
We gotta compensate for the profile. So I've gotta make sure that that stops here. And then this one, when it starts over, that new profile comes in over again, I'm not pushing back into that one. Right. So that's where we talk about like how far you need to stop. It's really gonna determine how big your bead is. A little bit of it moved around a little bit back in here. You can see it from this direction.
Oh yeah, that's doing stuff.
But you can barely see a little bit there. That's good. That's what you want to see on your first pass.
That's cool.
So let's get you on this inside one.
Okay.
So starting in the corners.
All right.
Pulling back.
All right. So
yeah, we'll get you somewhere right around there.
all right.
All right, you feel the pressure?
Yep.
All right, now count me 1 turn after you started to give it the gas.
Ah, that's fast.
All right.
Oh wow.
All right, now go ahead and stop. We go on it. So we didn't get our pressure till we got to here.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead, just give it a little bit more gas. A little bit more.
More?
Yep. Just give it gas to the end.
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, we're
oh,
not
I
there
was
yet.
trying to stop short. Okay.
Nope. We just keep running. What we're gonna do is reach over here and turn the speed down. So everything's, for me, it was in the pedal. I was playing the pedal.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, you know what? For me, it would be better if I could just floor it and not have to think about the foot and just
let's lift that real quick.
deal with it. Yeah. That's more my speed.
You was talking about patience a minute ago.
I don't have it. I'm the least patient person on the planet. I'm working on it though. I'm working.
We're gonna have to get you in a group called Slow with Finnegan. All right, so when you're first giving it that gas, we're gonna have to make sure we go ahead and turn.
Because I didn't do anything on that first one, right?
Yeah, well, I think we didn't get our turn to about right here. So just by taking it easy and giving yourself that time to mess up, you know, give you your time that way to grow that bead, it'll be a lot better. Just go ahead and turn it one full turn right there. Yep. All right, now go ahead and give me gas.
See, I'm gun shy. Before I stopped too early because I was afraid of going too far.
There you go. Just stop right about there, you'll be all right.
So we're trying to push that up and push it up, so I need to go to this side.
There you go, you got it. So you want to start a little bit farther up in this corner on this one, because we don't really have to compensate for the bead on this one. So, because you want to push it as high as possible. So you can be somewhere right there.
Now, where am I looking for the alignment? How do I know?
All right, so when you're looking this way, you're really just kind of keeping an eyeball on where you were as you're going in. You're going to come in, you're going to see that line, you're going to come in, and then you're just going to kind of walk yourself up to there.
That's so much stronger now. And it's super wide, like unlike using what I was using before, where it's just a narrower bead.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to do here, was just by opening the gaps and just kind of keeping our pressure really consistent.
All right, how about we build a gauge cluster?
Let's do it.
Sucks less than the one I made.
I love it.
All right, so let's talk strategy. In terms of doing this, I have 3 questions. After you've cut this out, would you roll the outside edge first or bead roll the recess first?
I'd probably do the outside edge first.
Okay, and would you leave the panel?
Perfectly flat.
So don't even cut the hole then?
I wouldn't cut the hole. I would bead roll everything and then cut the hole.
Then cut the hole.
It'd be the last thing I did, yeah.
So we'll get another one of these, we'll cut the general shape of it, not cut the hole, and then do the outside edge, then bead roll the recess.
I like it. I think that'd be a good plan. We can start with that and see how it goes.
All right. So this is the original plate that Newbert and I built, and we'll use it as a template for some thinner material. We made this out of 120 thou thick, and we're gonna use 63 thousandths thick now, because once we bead roll this, it's gonna be stronger than it would be anyway. So that's our template to figure out a new technique to flush mount this in there. All right.
So cut the fat off first, and then we'll get real close up to the edge.
A brand new bezel in there. It's thinner and it's very flimsy, and it will get even flimsier when we cut a hole in it for the screen. But we're about to draw out an outline of where we can bead roll this thing to stiffen it up and make it look better.
All right, so I'm just gonna run around this one, light pressure, not trying to overwork anything, just get us a nice little bead there, that way we can see what we got going on, and just go from there, and then we'll start moving on.
And this will be one continuous round corner.
All the way around.
Next
We're gonna
level.
wrap it all the way around.
Next level.
Oh, we're just gonna start in. Now, when I start, I don't wanna have a stop and a start, so I'm gonna feather it in. So feathering it in means that what I wanna do is take it to where I'm just gonna start adding pressure as I go. So as I'm going, I'm just gonna constantly add a little bit of pressure. That way you don't see a stop at the start.
So is this one turn of the knob past
Yep.
when it just started getting
Pretty
tight?
much.
Okay.
And right now is when you can kind of mess up a little bit. Just putting a small dent in there, just a small roll that you can come back and clean up after. If you do anything weird, or you get off on the first one, or the second, the second turn, or you're uncomfortable, or maybe somebody throws a wrench at you while you're working. Throwing out options.
Only when I know you're going to screw up. I want to give you a reason to screw up, that it's not your fault.
That's kind of what we were thinking about, and then with the dent in there. Now, if we add like a little line here, that's going to give us that little transition to make it actually look like it's not just floating against something. There is another wall here, another little bead, and that's kind of what I was thinking about, pushing another line through here and here to make this look like it's pushed back.
Now, so this is minimal compared to what I had done before. Are you going to make this deeper, or when you spread the dies, does it make?
Yeah, we're gonna spread the dies and just make it a little bit deeper by spreading the die.
And do you do that before you do this line?
I'm gonna do that line so that way everything stays pretty consistent. Okay. And then I'll jump on the other border.
So See, look, it's not all tweaked and bent like mine was. In general, do you just not even bother moving the bottom one? You just move
This depends on what I need, depends on which way I'm running the dies. I mean, it's really just an option of what I'm doing. And tighten yourself down, we're good to go.
So now, when you run this, where do you put the edge of the die now?
Exact same spot, because the lower dies is where it's gonna come up at. So this die is gonna ride right in the same spot. So we're gonna come through here. So I'm gonna go just a little bit more on the gap and just keep pushing it out just a little bit more. And then as I push it out, it's gonna keep rounding over, and then we can come back and define it by a cleaner line if we want, as we get it going a little bit. Okay. That way we don't press that in too much.
Version 1, that was all right. Version 2, not so good. Version 3, much better, much more stylish. We're onto something here, and I want to thank you for coming down here, teaching us how to use the tool, or at least the basics of the tool, and putting us on a path to having a much better interior in our C10.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff we're gonna try to do and try to clean it up a little bit, but it's gonna look really good eventually, and I think you're on the right path.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I love it. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Finnegan's Garage. Why can't you fold towels the way I want you to fold towels? For the record, the key is to fold towels incorrectly long enough so that eventually they just stop asking you to help with the laundry. He knows.